Disclaimer. This is educational purpose video only. I didn't harm anyone. I used my own device during explain of this method, so please don't use this method any kind of illegal or malicious activities. Because hacking is crime. If you do this, then it can land you in jail. I'm not support any kind of illegal or malicious hacking.
Linux machine. For performing phishing attacks, we will be using Social Engineering Toolkit Framework, also known as SET. SET comes readily available with all Kali Linux distribution and can be found under User Share directory. Let's go to the directory and start the SET Toolkit Framework program. Since you are starting it for the first time, you'll be asked to agree to the terms of services. Type in yes. This is the main menu for Social Engineering Toolkit Framework. As you can see, there are multiple options available here for performing social engineering attacks. We'll not be looking into all of these options as it is beyond the scope of this lecture. The focus of this lecture is phishing attacks. Before we continue, we need to make some minor changes into the set configuration files, which can be found under etc set toolkit directory. Let's take a look at that. Here is the set config file. We can use any text editor. I'll be using Nano, which is already available in Kali. We need to find configuration for Apache. There it is. We need to change the setting to off. The reason we change the value to off is so that Social Engineering Toolkit Framework does not use the web server which is available within Kali. After changing the value, we will save the changes. We'll use Ctrl O for that. We will write the changes and we will exit from here. Again, we need to start the Social Engineering Toolkit Framework so that the settings are applied correctly. Okay. So we'll be covering phishing attacks in this lecture. Let's go to the social engineering attacks, which is option 1. Type in 1 and press enter. These are the subcategories. We will not go into all of these. We'll go into the second option, which is website attack vectors. We will be making use of credential harvester attack method, which is option 3. And inside this, we will be making use of site cloner option, which is option 2. I'll explain you the use of other options 1 and 3 as well, but for this demonstration, we'll make use of option 2. Let's go through some of the information displayed here. This option is used for what IP the server will post to. If you're using an external IP, use your external IP for this. I'll explain you the difference between an external IP or public IP and private IP in a while. Now here you are required to provide an IP address of the machine on which you want to receive the username and password of the victim. Since we are performing the attack from this machine, we will be providing the IP address of this machine. Go to the terminal, open a new terminal, do an ifconfig. This will give you the IP address of this machine. Now let me help you explain the difference between an external IP and a private IP. This is a private IP address. Let's say the victim you want to hack is in the same network. In that scenario, you'll be using this private IP address. In other case, if the victim is not in the same network and is sitting in some other part of the world or somewhere else out of the network, then we'll be making use of public IP address or external IP address. The external IP address can be obtained very easily. You can go to Google, just type in what is my IP, and Google will happily show you your public IP address. Now it says here, if you're using an external IP, use your external IP for this. Now this option should be used when your victim is not in the same network. Now, for the demonstration of this lecture, I have my victim in the same network. Let's go back to the Kali Linux machine again. Since my victim is also in the same network, I'll provide the IP address of this machine only, which is 198.168.2.6. In case you want to target the victim which is not in the same network, which is somewhere else in the city or in the world, then you'll be providing your public IP address. Now you're required to provide the URL for the website you want to clone. Let's say you want to target Facebook users, then it should start with http facebook.com. Now it's setting it up for you. Look at this information. Credential harvester is running on port 80. In case where you're using an external IP, you also need to do port forwarding for port 80 if you're behind a router. You need to do a Google search in order to see how to do port forwarding in a router. So from the attacker standpoint, everything is set now. He's only waiting for the victim to access this IP address. Let's go to the victim machine. All you have to do, or the attacker will have to do, is somehow lure the victim into as accessing that IP address in the browser. Now at this point, I will leave this up to your creativity on how you can trick user into accessing that IP address. I can give you a hint. You can use a fake mailer to send a fake mail from Facebook which says a suspicious activity was observed on your account. In order to continue using the account, log in into your account through the following link. And at the link area, you can provide this IP address. In case of external IP, you can provide the external IP address. So the moment victim will access this IP address, he'll be presented with the Facebook page. By the time he will get to know that this is the fake page, he will happily provide the information. And try to log in. So if this is the fake page, he will not be redirected to his account. But by this time, we have already pulled this hack and obtained his username and password. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and will use this information carefully and responsibly. This lecture was for research and education purpose only. This is a very basic phishing attack which is well known to information security community for a long time. We'll be looking into some of the advanced social engineering attacks in the coming lectures. Thank you for taking this course.